Alright guys, let's go ahead and do part 2 of the reassembling effect. So what we've done so far is exploded the mesh by moving the particles along the particle normal. So now let's go ahead and reassemble them. And quick and dirty way to do that is just have them go back to their emit position. So we could use forces, but forces you have to exhibit a lot more control to it. Forces give you an organic movement to your particles, but we don't really need that to do this effect. Later on we'll maybe add a vortex to the front of the particles, and, set them free and have them, let them do a little bit of stuff. So let's go ahead and get the particle positions, get and set particle position, and we'll need a one of my favorite nodes, linear interpolate. And what else will we need? Get set. I'll get the emit location. I think that's all we'll need, yeah, for now. So shrink all this stuff. And just what we're working with right now will expand. Expand, select it. Okay, so let's rearrange. Oh crap, I shouldn't have done that. Oh crap, shouldn't have did that. It's late, long day. So anyway, put this together here. So we want it to go from its current position back to where it was born and set that back. Pretty simple stuff. So sweet thing about ice is that we're in the simulation region. So that means whatever we do for this frame, it's going to get repeated the next frame. We don't really need to animate the blend. I know I've animated the blend in previous videos, but you don't need to animate it. So if we do 0.1, it's going to blend 0.1 per frame, and the next frame is going to add another 0.1. So we just animate that. You see they're coming back together, but they're coming back together pretty fast. So if we want to slow that down, we'll just decrease this, let's say to 0.05. And they come back together, but do they make it all the way? No, they don't. So let's give them 125. Okay, 125 frames to come back together. Yeah, so they make it. Yeah, they're back home. Okay, so 125 frames, they make it back home. And that's that. Nothing too hard there. So we said, hey, every frame add 0.05 blend to linear interpolate, and we get a slowdown for free. Reason it slows down is because this is taking a percentage of the distance between these two. So as the current position gets closer to the emit location, there's just a smaller slice to take because the distance has gotten smaller and smaller. When they're the furthest apart, when it takes a piece, it's a big piece. But so we don't have to use an F-curve or nothing to slow them down as they get closer. We get that kind of free mathematically. So now that we got that effect working, we can disconnect that. We want to control when this effect starts. So when they're born, let's just hide them. And we'll do set particle scale to do that. Just scale them to 0. So we'll scale them to 0 when they're born, and let's just say include scale. And I think there's a bug in this right now. You have to include rotation too to get scale, but I have to check that. I have to check that and verify it. So we include scale, and then when we go to the second frame, they're gone. Okay, so let's go ahead and reveal them and animate them. So to do that, we'll use states again. So we'll get a simple state machine. We'll bring that in. We'll need 2 states. This will control state 0. State 0 will be yellow. Yellow. And we need another one. This will be state 1. And that'll be red. So when the particles are born, they're born in state 0. So this one handles state 0. We'll plug that in. And when this state is triggered, it'll move it to state 1. And this handles state 1. So this is what we want to do. When they move to state 1, we want to move them back to their emit location. So now our null gets to do its job. It's going to be the trigger to go from state 0 to state 1. So let's get our handy dandy test aside null, and that'll be our trigger. Bring the null in. Okay. And then we'll just scale it up. Move it up here. Let's see. You should be, oh, I don't have the second state. There we go. So now, let's just test this. Why you know like, oh, I didn't hook up the state machine. I'm in special ed today. So, boom, so it's controlling it for us. Now, you see how it's not uniform? Like this particle should be red, that particle should be red. That's because by default, test aside null uses a profile curve, and I wish that would be off by default. So anyway, so now we can just position this above everything. We'll set a keyframe here, and then we'll go to maybe frame 75, and we'll say all of them should be red by now. Over there and set that keyframe. So if we do that, they turn red, come in. Oh, we need to put them back to normal size. So when they get inside the null, we'll say execute on the trigger change. So when they go from 0 to 1, we'll want them to go back to regular size so they can be seen again. So we'll just hide the null. It's doing its job fine. And let's see how it goes. Our reappearing effect works. Let's hide the point cloud, go in a little bit, and there you go, reappearing effect. And let's slow that down a little bit. Let's say 0.025. That seemed to be 0. Wait a minute. What was it at? 0.1? So it would be at 0.005. That's gonna be real slow. Looks sweet though. Let's go to 160. That should be enough time. Oh, that's nice. So yeah, that's the reassemble effect. And then maybe something, I said online that I would add a vortex to the front of it so they would like spin into place, but this is enough. There's other stuff, there's other effects to do. Plus when you get into forces, you gotta really be on top of your game. So yeah, that's the reassemble effect, and you can do this with any source mesh. We're doing it with a cylinder, but that's it guys. So I'll upload this scene.